Give you the 3, 2, 1. 3, 2.
Good morning, Columbus, and welcome to another edition of From Our House to Your Home, the Remodeler Showcase. My name is Marty Reed. I'm your host, and the show is brought to you by Frog Hauling. If you want to clean your garage, your basement, your yard, whatever the heck it is, get rid of the clutter around your home, think of Frog Hauling. And if you're a remodeler and only the best product will do for your customer, think of Frog Hauling. We carry 5 different sizes of containers, so you don't pay for more container than you need. Well, as everybody knows, I think you know if you listen to the show on Sunday morning, we talk to a lot of remodelers and we talk to a lot of product suppliers. And one of the subjects that has come up recently involves real estate, but it's a little bit out of the realm of remodeling and product suppliers. People ask me about real estate. And the reason they're asking is because, one, the remodeling market is on fire, has been for a couple of years in terms of the number of projects that are being done. And a lot of it, when I get feedback, it is kind of related to the real estate market because, how do I want to put it, the buyers out there, the sellers out there are a little apprehensive now because of the amount of inventory that's on the market, which is nil. There's not much. So I have my favorite real estate expert with me today, Heather Byrne of Keller Williams, the Byrne Group. And as part of full disclosure, I've known Heather for, over 20 years. And let's see, if I had to classify the kind of projects that we've worked on together, I've flipped houses, I've sold rental properties, I've sold personal residence, I've purchased personal residence, I've had her help with my children finding homes, and I consider Heather to be the ultimate real estate professional. And I'll delve into that a little bit. So now that you're blushing... I am totally blushing. Wow. That was awesome. Can I take you with me on all my appointments, please? Yes, you can. I'm going to give you the opportunity. Just you get to introduce yourself a little bit, and then I'll embarrass you some more later. How's that?
That sounds perfect.
Okay. So just like tell the folks who you are, kind of what you do, blah, blah, blah.
Okay. As he said, Heather Byrne with the Byrne Group at Keller Williams Classic Properties. I've been licensed since 1996, which is just kind of crazy to think how long I've been in this market. Obviously seen my ups and downs. My husband joined me, which is why we are now the Byrne Group, 9 years ago. And we have been really enjoying getting to be and seeing all the aspects of real estate. We own some rental properties. We obviously help people buy and sell all the time. Colby really focuses on working with investors, helping them find perfect properties for them to own. One thing we have never done is we have never sold any of our own properties. We have kept everything that we have ever purchased.
So you want me to tell you my father's story?
Please.
It's exactly that, okay? I visited my father. This was years and years ago. He lived in my hometown. And I said, Dad, do you need anything? Can I help you with anything? You need any money? Blah, blah, blah. And he looked at me and he said, how dumb are you? Right? And I went, what? What? Well, my father owned rental properties, okay? Now, if I remember correctly, it wasn't a lot. It was like 6 or 8 properties, something like that. But they were all paid off. And he said to me, he goes, I can only eat so many steaks at my age. And he goes, and I don't need anything. He goes, I have a very good income that comes in every month. And he said, what are you doing? And after that, I started buying real estate.
Absolutely.
So anyways, that's a true story. That was probably 25 years ago, something like that. And as you know, as I said, we've gone
Been
through
there.
buying and selling. You've helped me with that.
Yes.
Well, I want to talk about really just a couple of things today. Anybody that's been involved, and I've experienced it with a son of mine who just purchased a home, two of them actually, in the current real estate market. It's tough. It's very tough. And we're going to talk about, with Heather, she'll give you some input today on how to navigate this current market. And then I want to talk a little bit about, because I think this is important. I kind of let the cat out of the bag when we started talking. Really, what is a realtor? Let's start there, okay? So I'm going to share with you, I'll just share with you some of my experiences working with Heather and Colby. I'm lazy by nature.
I love your honesty.
And especially the older I get, all I really care about is eating out and playing golf. But I consider Heather to be it's an overused term, a full service realtor. I've had properties where I said, Heather, she walks in, she analyzes them, and she said to me, you need to do some things to this property. I said, okay, Heather, I'm not doing anything. I want you to take care of it. Guess what? They took care of it. She arranged whatever handyman was needed, whatever repair guy. I didn't have to do anything. And she even negotiated a good price on all the stuff that had to be done. Now, I consider that full service. I was able to just turn it over, took care of everything that needed to be done. The other side of it, when I've purchased, I never had to, people get all, well, I'm going to call this bank, call that bank, call this bank. I never do any of that. Heather turns over a list to me and said, here's the 3 people that I want you to call if you choose. She ranks them. They'll take care of you. And oh, by the way, she's involved in that process. In other words, when they start asking for crazy stuff, she's always been there to help because she has a personal relationship with these people. And I guess the last thing it would be is, I mentioned this earlier, you deal in the investment properties, you deal if somebody's just flipping properties, whatever it is, you take care of all that. So I hope you're not blushing too much again, but I consider that to be a full service realtor. You tell me what you see that a realtor needs to be. I kind of said it. Now, what else? What if I missed anything?
It's funny. I honestly do what I think everyone should do, and I treat everyone the way I feel like all of them should be treated, and that is being full service. We work with people. We help downsize. One thing you didn't ever have me do is order you a dumpster, but I do have to do that for many clients that have a lot of stuff.
That is true. You do call me and say, my client needs a dumpster. Send it here. When? Now? Blah,
yes.
blah, blah. Yeah.
I don't give 3 options with that because, there's only one place to get the dumpsters. So,
there you go.
But that's just the way I feel that a real estate agent should be. I'm not a salesperson. I'm a counselor. I'm a consultant. I am a negotiator. I think that's one thing that it's in a personal experience. This is a huge deal for all of my clients, whether it's their 5th house, their first house, their last house. I want to be able to be and fill the need of whatever that one individual needs, because everyone's needs are different. And that's kind of my focus, is to be more of a chameleon. I need to change myself to be whatever it is that person that I'm with at that time needs the most.
Okay. One of the things I will tell you, I hope I can say this right. I've never been involved in a real estate deal with you where Heather has said to me, well, do you want to write a contract? And we never get to that point. She's not, and I only mention that because she said she's not a salesperson, and she truly isn't. It's always been an advisory role, and she has talked me out of properties that I thought were, hey, let's go get that. And she said, hold on, buckaroo. Let me give you the downside or the plus or whatever. So been a very, very good advisor. So Now we really have to talk about the real estate market.
Yes.
I told you before we started, there was, I think the April issue of Business First magazine, talking about the local Columbus marketplace. And there have been a number of articles over the month that really are talking about what's going on in Columbus. Because first of all, we have a marketplace in Columbus that is growing by leaps and bounds.
Absolutely.
And the input of people coming into Columbus.
Absolutely.
And one of the things that was really, really an eye-opener, and I think it's why people are asking me about the real estate market. Somehow I'm supposed to know this. I don't know why.
You're just the guru of all things.
Because I'm involved in remodeling or something. Is there's approximately a 1 month supply of homes and equilibrium in the marketplace typically is somewhere between 6 and 6.5 months, and that's kind of a historical figure that the market goes by. So what you have today is there's way more buyers than there are sellers, and you know, one of the angst that I hear is, well, what if I sell? How do I find?
Absolutely.
So you've got this. So talk about what you're seeing in the marketplace.
Yeah, it has been this way for a good 18 months of just a complete shortage of inventory for the demand that's out there, which makes it obviously a seller's market. There is some uniqueness in this seller's market in the sense that, you know, there are sellers out there that are trying to just put their house on the market without really getting it prepared, not feeling like they even have to sometimes clean it, which is amazing to me, but that is how some of these sellers feel. Obviously, you know, they want to make the most money, and listing it at the highest price isn't going to get them the most money. What we have really found in this market, which is really hard for the buyers, and obviously I represent both buyers and sellers very equally, but if you list the property at a fair price and have it in great condition, you are going to get multiple offers, and you're going to get buyers that are willing to waive inspections, remedy period, waive the appraisal. So basically, if the house value is $10,000 in contract, $10,000 more than the appraisal comes in, they'll pay that $10,000 out of their own pocket. Obviously, we have cash buyers in this market more than we have seen in the past. So it is extremely hard for the buyers in this market. And you don't want them ever to settle. That's my biggest thing with my clients. I literally had a conversation as I was walking in here today to meet with you with a very dear friend who has purchased with me in the past, and they were thinking about buying a house. And I, as you said, I often will talk people out of buying homes because I know when somebody is settling, and there's no reason to settle. And this person was about to settle, and we talked about it. And you know, unless you're in an urgent situation, obviously there are those situations. Somebody may have passed away, you're relocating for a job, a divorce, your lease is up. There's times where people are in urgent matters right now of needing to buy. But if you're not, just take a deep breath, and this is going to change. The market always does.
Yeah.
I've lived through some hellacious times when I was ready to throw it in, but this is only going to be a short-term time. You don't have to settle. You really don't. There's going to be more. I'm seeing more coming on now as I think this winter really affected the market also. Who wants to put their house on the market when it's snowing in April?
Yeah, well, that's true too. Yeah.
You know?
You might see an explosion here in the next few months, but still we have to bring much more inventory into the marketplace.
Absolutely. There are 3,000 homes on the MLS right now, which that's not just Columbus. That picks up Delaware, Newark, Marysville, parts of Lancaster. 3,000 homes, 600 condos. Now, when you see all the developing going around, there's a ton of apartments going up everywhere, but there really is not enough housing for the demand. They say that for every 3 jobs being made here in Columbus, that there's about 1 house being built for them.
Oh my gosh. Okay, I want to talk a little bit about the attitude. When we get back, we're going to take a break here real quick. The attitude that a buyer has to adopt so to speak. Before I do that, I want to say something. There's a podcast that's being produced by J.S. Brown and Company. You can find it on iTunes or the J.S. Brown Company website. It's called Above Grade. The president of J.S. Brown, Bryce Jacob, is the host. And the show centers around anything that has to do with construction. They talk about neighborhoods. They bring celebrities on. I'm going to be on the podcast next week. So I had to mention it. So I fall into the celebrity.
Yes,
no,
you do.
I fall into the trash man category. I don't know. Okay, so let's take a break. When we come back, Heather's going to tell you, as a buyer or a seller, kind of the attitude you have to adopt in this marketplace. We'll be right back. Okay. Oh, you didn't know. You're going to be on Facebook. This whole thing.
I saw that over there. I was like, why?
Yeah.
Can I see myself?
He's going to post it on Facebook, and you can post it wherever you want.
Oh, that's pretty awesome. Yay.
You got it. Okay, George, I'm ready.
All right, give me 1 second here.
Sure.
Just want to save this part.
Clear out the throat.
Are we covering what you want to cover?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
This is May 2018. Heather 1.
When is it on again? Sundays?
8:30.
8:30.
It will be on not this Sunday, next Sunday.
20th.
20th. I am getting so bad at this. I used to do 2 shows, like for 6 weeks, so that I could take a break.
Yeah.
I have been so busy, I can't even arrange to get shows done anymore.
Are you serious?
It's terrible. I mean, I walk into my dump office and go, my head goes down, and I look up at about 3 o'clock. It's terrible. You can't believe how busy we are.
Oh, I can. I see him.
Oh,
I see him
man.
every time I'm on the freeway, every time I'm going to the suburbs.
Good.
Yeah, I see him pretty often myself.
Yeah.
Now that you know what they are, you see them, right?
All right, you ready?
Yeah.
Give me the countdown here. 3, 2.
Welcome back, everyone. Once again, we're talking with Heather Byrne of the Byrne Group, my favorite realtor in Columbus. And I know a lot of them, but I'm going to give you my favorite. Teasing you. We've been talking about real estate, as I said, because a lot of people have asked me questions about this. And the reason they have is because a lot of people are going, what's the market like? And how busy are the remodelers, and so on and so forth. And I get all these kind of questions that center around it. So I thought it'd be good to talk to Heather today. So I mean, if you're thinking about a remodeling project, if you're debating whether you should move, stay, whatever the case may be, one of the things that I think is important, because I experienced this. I had 2 sons that just purchased properties, and my one son, I love you, Jenny. That's his wife.
I like that. That was nice. That was
Is
a good
impatient.
touch.
Well, she was impatient, and one of the things that I told her after they drug me to these properties, I kept telling her, "Be patient."
Absolutely.
I said, "Do not do something just because you want to buy a house that you're gonna regret. That doesn't make any sense." And so my advice to them was I said, you have to put together a priority list. Just make it 3 or 4 things. And my advice, being an old school guy, what kind of school system do you want? What kind of neighborhood? Those little things. And I said, in any home that you look at that doesn't meet those 3 things, you shouldn't even be going to schedule an appointment. So now, you as the realtor, am I good?
You are. I really
Okay.
need to bring you around with me more often.
Okay. You tell the buyers or sellers out there, maybe you want to divide them up, what they should consider if they're buying or selling.
We'll focus a little on buyers first,
Okay.
just because they're the ones that are definitely struggling the most because they're the ones that are suffering from the lack of inventory.
Okay.
And what you're saying is complete gold. It is patience. It is taking a step back and breathing. Focus on the things you cannot change. The location, you cannot change, such as whether that includes the school district or proximity to the places you want to be. You know, you are buying in a market that is a hot market. There will be a time when it's not a hot market. So, you know, this is a house that you're going to want to stay in for a while because you are buying it when it's at the top. So, is this a place that is going to suit you and your needs for the next 10 years? The pretty stuff in a house should not be what completely moves you.
Yeah.
Anyone can make a house pretty.
Right. Well, I can't.
Well, you can hire people.
I'm going to collect. They come in and get frustrated.
No, I've had people come to your house to get stuff done. They get stuff done.
Okay.
You've done improvements. So it really is those things. And unfortunately what happens is once you start looking, you get that excitement, and this market requires you to have to see the house within 24 seconds of it going on the market, which I'll tell you as an agent is very hard because, you know, I want all my clients to feel they're my only client, but obviously they are not my only client. I have a lot of people that need to be the first ones into homes. And you know, some agents out there, I think, don't necessarily like dealing with the multiple offers. It is time consuming and it does get overwhelming. But I think that we've been able, in multiple times, I mean, we've had 10 offers on one property, 6 offers on one property, 7 offers, you know, that's going to be what's best for the seller. For you to get as many as possible. Don't just have to take the first one. I mean, if the first one's insane, cash, no inspection, no nothing, then yeah, I get it. But, you know, for the sellers, all the ones I have worked with have been wonderful, but I've heard some nightmare stories out there when they've gotten 10,000 over asking, and they're like, well, I bet we could get more if we wait a little bit longer. So, I mean, you don't want to be too, you know, the house has to appraise. There are things that have to happen.
There are drawbacks. You can wait and get that offer over the asking price and then find out you can't get the appraisal.
Right.
And now you're back to square one.
Yeah.
Which is one of the things that you said earlier. We're at the top of the market. So first of all, most people are going to get a very good price for their home.
Absolutely.
I always use this term, pigs get slaughtered.
Yes.
Right? You don't have to be a pig.
Right. No, you don't. You don't have to be a pig. You're getting historically good pricing right now. And the market is dictating 100% what your house is worth, what your condo is worth. Because buyers are paying more for properties that before they wouldn't have even probably gone and seen. You know,
they know the competition. I'd say that the buying market has been educated that you move immediately and be prepared to offer more. That's kind of the mindset I see out there today.
100%. 100%.
That's crazy.
So the way we typically do it is when we get a new listing, we put it on the market Wednesday night so everyone will see it. It will get on to all the internet sites. Showings start on Thursday, and then we try and wait until Sunday, you know, so that there's time for people to actually get in. Because I'll tell you, sometimes when you take that first offer that comes in Thursday morning, sometimes those people just wanted to get the first ones in and wanted to get that offer, and then they walk away. And then there you are with nothing, and you've missed that incredible drive. Because
you're going to have a lot of lookers.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
You know, I mean, tell people how to get in touch with you.
Oh yeah, I guess that helps.
Yeah.
That's a good thing.
Okay.
They can always call me on my cell phone number, which is 614-580-8282, or by email at Heather Byrne @kw.com. And Byrne is Byrne. It's the Irish Byrne, like the pub in Grandview.
Now, what you're at a Keller Williams, what office?
I'm at Classic Properties. We're on Lane Avenue above the Roll Bike Shop next to Graders.
Okay. The other thing I would say about Heather is she is housed in Upper Arlington, but I think you know every road in Columbus. You're not concentrated in working in one area. You work all over the city.
Nope. If you looked at what I'm working on and the deals I have in contract right now, I am across the whole entire city.
Okay.
For sure.
Now, one other thing I want to talk about is we've talked about the buyers and they need to be patient, blah, blah, blah. But the other thing that I know that needs to happen is they need to be prepared to buy because of the competition. What advice would you give them?
Thank you for saying that. Yes, you really need to speak with a lender and know your numbers that you're comfortable with. Obviously, area to area will change because of taxes.
Yeah.
So, just because maybe you're qualified to buy a $300,000 house, if there's a payment that you're really trying to stick with or need to stick with, that is going to change from subdivision, neighborhood to neighborhood. So that's something that is the most important part, is your finances and knowing where you're going to have the down money coming from. And, there are people buying homes without doing inspections. I would never recommend that ever.
Right.
You don't have to ask for remedy, but you never not want to have the house inspected. There are just things you cannot physically see that a home inspector can see.
Right.
You're not going up typically in an attic and looking for things, or, opening inside the furnace, and it's just smart.
Yeah, well, it doesn't make any sense to have the hidden surprises, so to speak.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think you can't go out in this marketplace, at least I'm not aware of it, and write a contract that says, I remember these old terms, right?
Yeah.
You schooled me. Subject to buyer obtaining financing acceptable to buyer. That term doesn't exist anymore, does it?
No, that does not exist anymore. No.
So in other words, if you're a buyer, go get your ducks in a row, because you'd have no business trying to compete in this marketplace, because all the rest of the contracts are not going to have any financing contingencies, right?
Yeah, I mean, they have financing contingencies in the sense that they have to get a loan, but a lot of them are saying we will cover gap between appraisal and the purchase price. They are not asking for closing costs. You don't see
that's
that
gone
now.
too?
Yeah. Right now you don't see buyers really asking for closing costs. I mean, in certain areas, there is still some of that, but they're having to up the price to basically cover what that is.
See, this is so distressing to me. I can't buy real estate now because
I
call it let's make a deal, and I love making a deal.
Yeah. But yes, I know. I know. But you know what? Colby's still very busy finding investors' properties. But he's very good at making sure that no rock goes unturned with him. I mean, he talks to different investors, and sometimes people are like, well, I think maybe I should get rid of this property. And, he already has a slew of people that he can say, would you want this property? And so there are still opportunities out there. There really are.
You just have to work at it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Once again, if you're thinking of buying, selling, I'm going to give my recommendation that you call Heather Byrne of the Byrne Group, Classic Properties, Keller Williams, Upper Arlington office. You can go and Google any of that, and
Yes.
you can find her. But again, I mean this all kidding aside. One of the reasons that I always worked with Heather, and I don't mind saying that, is true professional. It didn't matter what came up in the transaction. Instead of having to worry about it, I just said, Heather, will you take care of this? And she said, absolutely. Forget about it. It's done. Now that's a real estate agent.
That's the way it should be. That's the way it's supposed to be.
Yes. Okay. So tell them once again how to get in touch with you. Cell phone, email, whatever.
Yes, you are welcome to call or text cell phone 614-580-8282 or my email, heatherbyrne@kw.com. We do have a website, sellingbuckeyecountry.com, that you can also go to and get our information. But we are happy to help, whether you're, thinking about whether you should remodel or sell, or whether or not you are wondering if you should even try to get into this market. We love to meet with people, and we will give you our honest assessment. There's many times, as Marty said, I will tell people not to sell, not to buy. It's what's best for you, not what's best for me.
Thank you once again. You have been a marvelous guest.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome.
It's an honor.
Okay, folks, thanks so much for listening, and we'll see you next week.
Perfect timing, George.
Perfect timing.